Alright guys, so we want to continue putting some of these tools into practice and learning some new tools. As we go through each of these tutorial videos, remember that we want to continue building our skills on top of each other. So remember the skills that we learned from the previous ones and then continue to put them into practice as we continue moving forward. So today what we want to do, we're going to do a pretty fun activity, and it's going to be turning yourself into an alien. Remember, ultimately, what we want to do is we want to create ourselves as a superhero. So maybe you're a superhero from another planet, or whatever the case may be. But anyways, this will give us some skills that we'll be able to apply towards creating our superhero. So the very first thing that we want to do then is we want to come into our Photoshop, and we want to load a picture of ourselves. If you don't have a picture of yourself, you can go to Photo Booth, take a picture, and then add it in. If you do have a picture of yourself, you can open that one up. But we'll go ahead and come in and hit File, Open. And get in the habit of doing File and Open. If you're just dragging it in, it will work for now. But there will eventually become a time where it's not going to work as well as we want it to. So really the best way to do it is just going to be to go to File, Open, and load your pictures that way. So here we go. Here's a picture of myself that I'm going to use. And the first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and crop the picture so that just your head and neck are showing. This is basically, in my picture, this is basically already happening. But in case you're using a picture where that is not the case, I want to show you the process of how to do that. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to come over. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to come over and click on this button. It looks kind of like two 90-degree angles coming together. That's the crop tool. You'll see it kind of gives us these buttons on the side that we can grab. We're going to go ahead and just kind of crop it in a little bit like that. Then up at the top, once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and hit the check mark to apply that crop. And we'll crop ourselves down like that. Once we have cropped your picture to just have your head and face, or your head and shoulders, remember, please also just use a picture of yourself in this case. No other pictures, just a picture of yourself. Once you've done that, we're going to come over and grab the magnetic lasso tool. So if remember, with each of these tools, anytime you see this little arrow on the bottom corner of it, that means there's a tool behind there that we can click on and see what those are. You may initially have just this lasso tool, so click on that arrow or click and hold down, and you can choose the magnetic lasso tool. We used this tool in the last lesson, but again, just a quick reminder of how it works. You're going to start kind of in an area that you want to begin to outline. As long as there's a pretty clear differentiation between the area that we want to go around and the background, it'll do a pretty good job of finding the difference. However, sometimes it wants to kind of jump back to a spot. You might be able to see my line is kind of going in towards my beard instead of going around my ear in this case. So if that happens, again, you can just click and kind of force it to go around that spot so that it will kind of pick up, oh, that's the color that you're actually looking for. As I get to my hair, there's a pretty good delineation between my hair and the background, so it picks it up pretty well. But you can see now that it's kind of jumping in and it's not doing as good of a job. That's okay for now. We'll show you how to kind of fix that here in just a second. So I'm going to continue going around. You may find that as you get to like a point where you change directions, sometimes it makes it a little bit easier just to click and kind of set that point. If ever you find that it jumps way out here like this and it sets a point out there where you don't want it, really simple to get rid of that. Hit the delete key on your keyboard and it will jump back to the most recently placed point then. The delete key, you can hit that a number of times just to delete back to get back to where you last left off, and that kind of is helpful to make sure that you're not, messing up as you're going around. So once you come back to the point, you'll notice on my magnetic lasso that as soon as I get back to the point where I started, it kind of adds this little dot circle in the bottom right hand corner of my tool. So as I come over there, that's how you know that you're back to where you started from. And when you click on that point, it's going to create our marching ants around my selection that I made. Now, one thing that you'll notice up at the top, I kind of missed some of my hair here. Not a huge deal, but if I wanted to go back and add it, up at the top, I've got my options for this tool. So this is the tool that I'm currently using. These are some of the options that I have for that tool. I see that I have the Add to Selection tool. So I can come over here and maybe just a little bit of this hair here. I can kind of click a few times again because it's using the magnetic lasso tool, and kind of just click around, and as I make a circle back around, it will fill in that section. If I wanted to pick up this little section here, just kind of click around to make a circle and it will pick it up. Do one more time, kind of get the rest of it. You see then that it kind of jumps the circle back out. So that's the Add to Selection. I can use the Subtract from Selection button. Maybe if I don't want this little part of my shirt in here, so I can come in and kind of just go around and select that part of it, and then it will take that section out. So that's a way that you can kind of fix your selection and include or not include any areas that may have initially been picked up. All right, now that we've got our dotted lines, our marching ants around the selection of our face and our neck, we're going to go ahead and do a 2-finger click right on there, and we're going to hit Layer via Copy. When we do Layer via Copy, we'll look over to the side. We see that we've got 2 layers now. If I hide that first layer by clicking on the eye next to it, it's going to show that it's going to cut out the background, which is exactly what we wanted it to happen. So now we are just working with our head and our face. We don't have anything in the background here. And we're going to do some pretty cool technique here. We're going to come up to Filter now, and we're going to choose Liquify. So again, we're up to Filter, Liquify. And when I do that, it kind of brings in this selection here. Now, if yours did not work, maybe it turned red or it didn't bring in your full face, hit Cancel. Come up and hit Select and check to see if the Deselect button is active. If it is, hit Deselect first. If you have an area selected, sometimes there's a little section that's selected. It'll only do that piece of it. So come up and just hit Deselect. That's going to be a tip to use for lots of future things as well. So again, though, we want to go to Filter, Liquify, and you'll see that the first tool that we kind of had defaulted to here is the Forward Warp tool. With this, I can set my size. 32 is probably pretty good, though. And what this is, this kind of treats my face and my hair and everything as if it were wet paint. So I can kind of just come in and kind of play around, make myself kind of look like an alien, play with that, and kind of, I don't know, give myself some alien type features here. Maybe I'm going to have something like that. So that's pretty good. Definitely a unique look. I also can kind of come down here. I've got the pucker tool. The pucker kind of shrinks things in, so I can come over my eyes. Maybe a little hard to see, but it kind of shrinks my eyes. It shrank my pupils there. But this one's even more fun. It's called the bloat tool, and it works pretty well on your eyes, and you can really make your eyes big and give yourself those big alien eyes, something like that. So as you come in and bloat it out, you can do the same thing kind of on your teeth and your mouth, whatever. Give yourself a pretty crazy look. Once you're done, you can hit OK, and it's going to bring that picture back into my Photoshop. And from here now, what I want to do, I want to actually change my skin color, make myself really look like an alien. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to select the magic wand. If your magic wand is not here, it also might show this quick selection, and then you can hit this down arrow or click and hold down and select the magic wand. And I want to come up to the top of my options, make sure that I have the add to selection option for my magic wand selected. And I'm going to start clicking on my skin. And I want to try to pick up as much of my skin as possible on my face. If you get kind of like that, where that happened and it picked up my hair now, you can hit Command Z to undo that, and we'll see if we can kind of go around and I'm going to get my ears in here too, my other ear, try to pick up all those little pieces, my neck. Let's see if I can get that little piece. Nope, might not be able to get that. That's okay. So once you've gone and you've selected all of your face and your skin, as much of it as possible anyways, you can come up now to Image, Adjustments, and we're going to start with the Hue and Saturation. And this gives us a pretty cool thing that we can do. We can start playing with the hue, and it starts changing our face color, so we can make ourselves really alien-like. So I'm going to make myself kind of green, I think. The next thing that I can do, I'm going to first come up, I'm going to hit Select, Deselect to get rid of the dotted lines there. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click on my magic wand again. I'm going to select all my hair this time. So I'm going to come in and click on all of my hair. Get all these little pieces. Select my beard. These little pieces that we missed previously. That's pretty good. And I'm going to change the color of my hair and my beard. Again, I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. And maybe this time I'm going to make my beard kind of blue. Oops, actually, before I do that, I'm going to miss part of my hair, so let's do that again. And Hue and Saturation, I'm going to give myself kind of this blue, and I'm going to hit Select, Deselect, and I've pretty well changed myself. Green skin, blue hair. Now, one thing that you'll notice, grays don't work very well. Grays and blacks don't work very well with this hue and saturation. So let's say I have this gray shirt on and I wanted to do the same thing with this gray shirt. I choose hue and saturation. I change it. It doesn't really change very well. You know, you can see I'm moving it, but it doesn't change it at all. So in this case, instead of hue and saturation, what you may want to do then is you may want to come and hit color balance. Kind of a similar idea, but it's going to do a much better job of actually changing the color. So you can see I can change it, and now it actually is changing the color of my shirt. So I can play with each of these, and I can kind of move these in a different direction to change it. I can do kind of both or all three at the same time, and then that will change the color of my shirt then as well. Hit deselect. Now I've changed my shirt. So there we go. I've turned myself into an alien. Again, remember that when you're finished, you want to come up, hit File, Save As, give yourself a name, make sure you know where it's saving it to, change it then to a JPEG, and I'm going to name myself Alien. Hit Save, OK, and now I have a picture in my Downloads folder that I can post onto the Padlet. So once you're done, go ahead and post your picture onto the Padlet, and we'll all take a look at each of our alien pictures that we've made. All right, good luck. Have fun.